Happy Vlogmas Day 18. It's nighttime. I got a few clips this morning, probably not as many as I should have, but I did sleep in. I was up all night last night with food poisoning. Yeah, I was up all night with food poisoning, so I slept in, started the day real late, like 2 in the afternoon. Me and my husband got breakfast, which was really lunch, and then played Risk on the Switch for a few hours while I crocheted. And that's been my day so far. And now he's left to work, so I figured I would sit down with y'all and catch you up on the stuff that I was able to accomplish yesterday with my elongated time of being awake due to being ill, and go over kind of the thinking that I've been doing because I did a lot of that yesterday. So I was up till 7:30 in the morning yesterday. So 7:30 this morning. And was not good. Still feel a little ill. I've been trying to eat slow, drink a lot of water, but not too much water, you know? You know when you have a stomach thing and you can't drink too much? Whatever. So what did I get done yesterday? We came to one of our local casinos, MGM Springfield. We love staying here. We stay here for just a few nights just to kind of be away from home. So when we got here yesterday, on the ride up, I was able to crochet on one blanket square for the third blanket, the green and the pink one. And I got that done by the time we got here. It's about an hour drive from where we live. So that was nice. Then all I did for the rest of the day was work on more squares for that blanket. I was able to make 3 and almost a whole 4th yesterday before my husband left to work. At this point, with the blanket, all of the squares are technically made. The last square is I have these organized, so I'm trying to keep them organized. But this is the last square, and if you can see right here, I ran out of yarn. So I literally need a little over half of a row to finish the last square. So when we go home tomorrow, I'm hoping to get this done first so that I can finish doing what I started doing today, which is connecting the squares. I have clips yesterday. I laid out all the squares after I crocheted up to that last point. I laid them all out and tried to figure out which way I wanted them to be arranged, because I had originally had them in my head one way, but because of the way that the colors were working up in the different pink squares, it didn't look how I wanted it to. So I settled on this arrangement in the end, and I then stacked them in the way that they need to be attached. So I have these, which all need their ends woven in still, but they're in order. So I'm just grabbing 5 at a time for each column, weaving in all the ends, and then I'll connect them into the blanket and then repeat the process. So I have this stack, and then I have this stack, which is the next 5 to go into the blanket, and the first column that I just actually did finish attaching maybe an hour ago. So let me show you that. So that is the first column done, and I wove in the ends on the connection too, because I just had my darning needle out, so I did that. So this is all set, and now these squares are ready to go in to the blanket. And I brought plenty of the cream yarn to be able to do all the connecting, so I could move on and do that, and that is on the agenda tonight, just because we're traveling back home tomorrow, and while I don't think my squares will get jostled because I already have them in the specific order, and yes, I could reorder them because I have the picture. I don't want to, so It would just be easier if I put these into the blanket tonight so I don't have to worry about an extra column getting messed up. Yeah. And plus, the more work I do now, the sooner the blanket will be done when we get home, which is what I'm aiming for. So that's that for that project, and hopefully this will get joined in tonight. But first, I am going to put in work on a different project because my husband just left to go work. That project being his blanket. I finally went and got his blanket yarn out of storage, and I don't know if I said that yesterday or not, but I got the missing red yarn I needed to finish his blanket. So that's what I'm working on. I only got a little bit of work done on it yesterday because he took a nap like right before I got sick, and when he woke up he went out to work, and then I got sick. So I worked on this a bit while he was napping, but he was like in the room with me, so I wasn't like, I was trying to hide it so in case he like rolled over and woke up, he wouldn't see it, you know? That's just me. But this is the square I was able to work on yesterday. And I just stopped right here. So I just need to finish this last row, and that square's done. Minus, ends being woven in. We're not talking about that. And then I need to crochet another 3 squares to finish the total 20 squares for the blanket, which I can do majority of that now. I only have this much gray with me to work on this, and I think this will get me through another one of these red squares. But then the last 2 squares I need, the colors are swapped, so instead of majority red, it's majority gray. So I'm thinking that this will give me 1 more red square, which is perfect, and then it'll probably get used up in the first of the gray squares, if you follow what I'm saying. Which is fine. That means I just need to finish that square and then do 1 more when we get home. Or maybe this will finish a whole third and then I just have 1 square left. Either way, I can do progress on that, so that's what I want to do because I would like... It's Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday, obviously. But I would like to finish both these blankets before Sunday. That is the goal. That is the goal, is to finish both the blankets before Sunday, have them completely done, which I think is completely feasible. And then I can focus back on... I mean, I still have Christmas gifts to finish, but the 2 biggest ones will be done. And then all that's really left on my needles is knitting. So that is heaven right there. So yeah, that's the plan for right now. I also want to show you the progress I managed to get last night on his socks, because I was able to sneak in rows on that as well, which was actually really good. So this one he almost did catch me working on. Yeah, had he been wearing his glasses, he probably would have clocked me immediately, to be honest with you. So this is the second sock, if you haven't been following along, for this project. And this is how far I am. So yesterday I started knitting here at my 60 row stitch marker, and so I was able to put 20 rows to finish the foot, because I do 80 rows in his socks for his foot, and I just barely 4 rounds into the gusset, just enough to do the first 2 rounds of increasing, or 2 increases, because it's 4 rounds, it's every other row, and establish... I don't even know if you could see that, but I did establish the ribbing pattern on the front of the gusset. So now I just need to power through the gusset, heel turn and heel flap, and then they're basically done. I do knit a 30 round leg on his socks with a 15 round cuff, but I feel like once I clear the heel flap, it's light work. So that's what my next goal is to just clear the whole heel section. but it's set up to do that now. So that's perfect. And I can work on that tonight, ideally. And I would love to have these done by Sunday as well. And I think that's possible. It just depends how much time he spends at home this weekend. I don't know the answer to that though, so we'll see. But guaranteed, these 3 gifts will definitely be done for Christmas Eve. Which means everyone I'm supposed to see on Christmas Eve, their gifts will be done. Days in advance. Hallelujah. Anyway, I'm really proud of that. So, the plan of action is to get as much as done as possible on these first. Then connect in these to the blanket. And then resume work here. Taking advantage of the fact that he's not here is what I'm thinking. I think that's the best approach because his gusset and heel section takes a lot of knitting and I have to pay attention to it. It's not something I can really do in the dark. Stockinette's no problem. Even ribbing is no problem, but focusing on a heel turn and a heel flap, not cool in the dark. So if I could power through as much of that as I can tonight, that would be like chef's kiss. And then I can leave the last 2 columns of the pink and green blanket to finish tomorrow when I get home. Wrap up that gift, work on his when he's not around, and boom, Bob's your uncle. Yeah. So that's my thought process. I did bring a 4th project with me up here just because I wasn't sure how much progress I'd be able to put in on his gifts while he was here because we were planning to spend the time here together. So I brought the waistone mitts that I'm knitting for my friend. The first one is almost done. I think I need just like an inch more on the palm section and then the ribbing. And then obviously the thumb, but I wait to do the thumbs until both mitts are completely knit up because that just makes more sense. So I'm almost halfway through that project, but I haven't knit on it at all since we've been here, which is fine. That's just the next thing on the list after these 3 gifts are done. That'll be next to finish, and then I go back to doing socks for a few other friends, but I have to mail those gifts, so. And then I'm done with Christmas 2025. That is a huge accomplishment. I'm like real cheesed about that. That's really cool. Normally I'm knitting up until the very last moment, so the fact that I will at least have a few days of buffer is, with that in mind, since I have you here, I've already started to plan projects for post-Christmas. So I figured I don't have the yarn here to show you, but this is making me super excited and I think it's helping me get motivated enough to like push through the ends of these projects. So I figured I'll walk you through a little bit of it. And if I have pictures of the patterns I'm talking about, I'll try to put them here. But I don't have the yarn with me to show you what I would be using for the projects. But you'll see it later. So what I'm thinking, right, is number 1, Christmas obviously happens. But then in January, I celebrate my wedding anniversary. And then in February, it's Valentine's Day. And then my husband's birthday is in March. So I still have to gift knit after Christmas. Obviously not for like 14 different people or more, but I still have to gift knit. So my immediate plans that I was working on last night was as soon as this pair is cast off, I'm going to immediately cast on another pair for him. And I worked it out. I already pulled the yarn out of storage. I sat down last night and like roughly estimated how much I'd have to knit every single day to accomplish knitting him a pair of socks in a month if I don't just bang them out. Which is helpful for me because 1, I have migraines. 2, I have other projects that I'm trying to work on and accomplish. I have designs that I want to work on. So clearly I'm not going to be sitting down every day focusing on finishing this pair of socks. So for me to know the minimum that I need to accomplish every single day, is a huge help for my planning. Because you'll see the ADHD comes out in the thinking process. So I already picked out the yarn, and I'm not knitting anything special. I'm just going to do a contrasting heel toe cuff in a cream color, and I have this really pretty, like, what kind of shade of blue is it? I don't know why I want to call it cordial blue. It's like an ocean blue, like a Doritos blue. That's what it is. So, some blue and white socks. I haven't ever given him blue and white socks, and I have plans of knitting myself some colorwork socks with that afterwards. So, that's my plan, is to just knit him a ribbed pair of socks. Specifically, he keeps asking for a ribbed pair of socks. Well, I guess that's not really true. He didn't ask for it. He just keeps telling me that his best pair of socks that that fits the best is his ribbed pair, which makes sense. But I don't like knitting ribbing like that. Not in socks. It just sucks. But I'm giving him another stockinette pair. So I feel like for our anniversary, I can put in the work to knit the ribbed pair of socks. That way, he's got more options. Yeah, so that's my plan there. Immediately, as soon as this pair is cast off, I don't care if it's on the 20th, the 22nd, the 21st, Christmas Eve, I don't care. I'm going to cast on the toe and hopefully knit the first 15 rounds of the foot that first day to get a head start, so that I can work on those every day, just a chunk every single day if I have to get them done. So that's my first plan. My second plan that I've been cooking up is, obviously I want to pick up some of the whips that I have languishing, because I have a lot. My husband has also come to me with the idea that maybe we don't take weekends off of working on our businesses, but we just dedicate Tuesday as our day off, because we really like going to the movies, and Tuesday's obviously discount day. And his work is never that great on Tuesday, and it's not like I do anything extravagant on Tuesday specifically, so we've decided that instead of giving ourselves a proper weekend, we're just going to have Tuesday be a complete day off from work. So I'll probably finish filming weekly videos on a Monday, and then take Tuesday off, and then edit and upload on Wednesday, and begin filming again on Thursday, is my rough estimate. That is subject to change. But what goes with that is he also asked me to take Tuesday to just work on personal projects, which I understand. He's super big on advocating for me to keep my creativity, no matter if I'm working on stuff for espresso fibers, or if I'm working on commissions, or if I'm working on gifts. Because I do that a lot, I work on things for other people, and then the projects that I have started for myself just sit there endlessly. So he said specifically, if Tuesday's a day off, then I should work on only personal projects, or not work on anything at all. And we know there's no way I'm not gonna knit on something. So having a day dedicated to working on personal projects every single week is going to be very helpful. With that in mind, I do have 2 active cardigans going at home, and I have an active sweater going at home. And I've been really wanting to cast on to knit a cotton long sleeve, and I have the yarn for that. So I'm not completely sure how I'm going to go about that. I have 2 skirt projects on the needles. Well, actually, one of them is knitting, one of them is crochet, but two skirt projects started. I have a lot. I have tons of socks for me started, so there's a lot to work on. But I'm thinking the first thing I really want to pay attention to is this knit cardigan that I started right before I started making everything for Christmas. It's still in the yoke, it's not very far. I probably need to buy another skein of yarn to finish the body of it, but I have the yarn for the sleeves because they're in different colors. And while it will be themed out of this season, it will be done and I will wear it. So I'm thinking that'll be my first thing. That pattern is the Ridge cardigan, by whom I do not remember, but I'm knitting it with a Halloween twist. And yes, I know it's no longer Halloween, but I choose to live spooky every day. So I'm thinking that would be a priority. I'm also thinking I might fall victim of casting on a cotton top. I know I shouldn't because I have so many whips and I do want to get down the number of whips that I have, but honestly, I would really appreciate a cotton top for the end of the winter season, for the traveling that we have coming up. And I don't like layering, so actually being able to have like a long sleeve that's not like suffocatingly hot would be very beneficial. I'm still working on the idea. It could also just be a knit t-shirt. I don't know. I haven't completely figured it out yet, but I know I want to use that yarn. The yarn I'm talking about is Lion Brand 24/7 Cotton DK in black or caviar. I have like 5 skeins, if not 6, sitting like next to my bed, and I just really want to knit something with them. I love that yarn. So I might start that too. And I pulled yarn out specifically to start knitting projects to list on Espresso Fibers for the summer season. So I have a cardigan I want to finish, socks for him I want to knit, yarn for our bralette for the site, and I might start a t-shirt for me. Yeah. And I've had a lot of ideas designing wise in the last 24 hours that I'm kind of working on fleshing out, but it's nowhere near ready to knit. But I have that I want to work on as well. And I obviously have the Gemini beanie that I'm ready to start test knitting the colorwork pattern on. So those are my plans post basically this next week. Because I don't know if you know this, but Christmas is like, what, 6? 6? It's 8 p.m., so I'm going to call it 6 days away. 6 days away. That's crazy. I need to work on these projects. Everybody who's participating, I'm seeing your squares, and it is so neat seeing everybody's squares and colors. Look, it's different color palettes. It's been 2 years, like, no one's gonna do this. I look at how I do this, and I'm like, you're doing squares. Now, look at how cool this looks. He's decided to come back home, so I'm gonna hide all the projects, but this is where I ended. This square done, and this square on the last 2 rows. And this is what I have left of the gray. So, definitely not enough to get me 2 more squares in predominantly gray. So, I'm gonna put this away, and I'm gonna be putting away his socks. And yeah, guess we're going back to the pink and green blanket.
Not the moss thing.